know that I've recorded a video of this machine before. I can't find the video, so I'm just going to record another video while I'm doing this work. This is a MiniPC, the model of which I'm not sure. Please excuse the noise. I'm doing some testing on a hard drive in the server closet, and obviously, as you can tell, it's got some problems. But either way, Jetway model JC600 MiniTop. So now we know what it is. See a cooling vent there. Look at the ports, HDMI, DVI, which is DVI-I, so you can use analog VGA with that. eSATA, which is also a USB port. Ethernet, 2 more USB ports, and the DC input. Looks like there is information with respect to the wireless, which you can see the antenna for right there. The front of the machine is pretty nondescript. There's a vent underneath this door, 2 more USB ports, SD card slot, looks like microphone and headphone, and the power. There's a light here. I'm not entirely sure what it's used for, possibly infrared. Now this is a little messed up. This machine was picked out of a bin of junk. So we'll see if we can get this open. It's a little less than intuitive. You kind of just have to force it and hope that you don't break any of the tabs. I think one of them is broken. Yeah, there is a broken tab, but that's alright. So once we're inside the machine, we can see what it has to offer. There is a soldered CPU that's actually an Atom D525 CPU. There's a 2.5-inch hard drive bay. It's got an SSD in it right now that we will be replacing, because it's got a 128 gig in it now and it doesn't need that. And 2 DDR2 SODIMM slots. I've got this thing pretty much maxed out at 4 gigs. And this thing is used in the basement. It's hooked up to a TV. It's used as a home theater PC for downstairs. And like I said, I don't really need to have 128 gigs for that. So I've got a couple of 40 gig Pacer SSDs, pretty much the same thing as what's in there now, just smaller in size. So we're going to clone it, and I'm also, in the process, going to perform an upgrade to Windows 8.1, an in-place upgrade, which is something I have never done. So we'll see what that process is like. Okay, I've got it all plugged in now, except for the power. So we'll apply power to it, because I wasn't sure if it would turn on immediately upon applying power or not. It looks like it did not. So here we go. Oops. Something's not working. Hold on a minute. Okay, so it's booted up now. I don't know if it was just because it thought that it was plugged in via HDMI and just automatically assumed, because it was before, just automatically assumed that the HDMI was the one that I needed to use or what, but I have the new drive plugged in. I'll go to reflect, and we'll just run a straight clone. Should be relatively easy. No, I don't need rescue media. I already have that if I want it. So we'll clone this. There's only one disk we can clone it to. Copy these selected partitions. The last partition has been shrunk to fit. Now it is a little on the big side, 33 gigabytes, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Hit next, hit next, hit finish, I should say. I don't need to save it. I'm just going to run it. Continue. And we'll let it clone. And that should be that. Okay. Clone is completed. Took about 40 minutes to do that. A little bit more than 40 minutes. So it's not too bad, I suppose. So we can go ahead and shut this down. And begin the replacement process on the drive. Shouldn't be too difficult. Made a little bit more difficult by the fact I've got a tripod sitting right here, but I think we can manage. So I'm going to unplug this first, just because it's in the way. And we'll get started. Okay, the drive is in place. Let's power it up. This time it will actually work over the DVI. So now, once I verify that this will actually boot, it was a little concerning how long that took, but looks like we are okay with that. Okay, now I'll have to reboot it again. Probably because it just installed the driver for the new SSD. Okay. Now we should have our USB stick ready to go. So we'll plug it in. We will hope that it's the correct version of Windows. This will find out. It's installing device driver software. The device is ready to use. Let's see. Should be able to just go ahead and run setup. And if this screws up, I've still got the other drive with the install on it. So I can back out of this if I so desire. But I can't really foresee a reason to want to back out of this. Just because Windows 8 is a supported operating system. You know, I think I've probably actually tried to do this. Thinking about it. Just now. I guess we're going to find out whether this is going to work or not. So I'll be right back once we've determined this. Okay. Well, I'm going to select no on this because that can tend to cause some issues. And that's not selected. I don't want that. We'll hit next. And now we will need to enter in our product key. So let's do that. Okay, you must accept the license agreement, which I definitely read very carefully. Keep personal files only. Well, I want to keep all the personal files. Making sure you're ready to install. It'll take a few minutes. Well, I don't really have a few minutes. I've only got about 8 minutes on this tape, so I think I'll wait until this is finished. Okay. We're ready to install. You won't be able to use your PC while it installs. Yada yada yada. I don't really care. So I'm going to get rid of that. We'll go ahead and install. And there we go. Now it's full screen. Your PC will restart several times. This may take a while. Well, like I said, I only have about 8 minutes worth of tape, so I'm not going to record this whole process. So far, it seems to be pretty straightforward. If anything changes, then I will come back. So I'll either come back if something fails, or if it needs more information, or I will come back when it's done. One or the other. Okay, it looks like we were successful. So we're now going to set everything to be dark, just because that's how I like to have that all set up. Now I gotta get the network configured, which it should already know. I don't know why it doesn't. Conveniently, that was out of focus. So we'll customize our settings. Well, it's a home network. Sure, actually, automatically install port. Those look okay. All of that should be off. Good. Off. 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 I turned that off. 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 Sure, we'll leave that on. Confirm your local account password. Okay, so this is the account setup. I'm telling you what, this camera does not like to focus. Oh boy. That is going to take forever. Probably should have seen that coming. Okay, so before I go any further, we are going to need a start menu on this. I also want to verify the sign-in process and just make sure that it's going to work as intended, which it looks like it will. Okay, so this was supposed to be an in-place upgrade, and it's looking more and more like it was not an in-place upgrade. It was just an overwriting of everything. So that was really kind of pointless, and I should just revert it back to Windows 7. Because I think that that's ridiculous. That sure was. Look at this. No programs. That's quite silly. I asked for an in-place upgrade. That means that everything should be left alone, and it should work. Craziness. It's just crazy how bad the state of Windows has got. It's almost as bad as Linux. Really it is. Okay, we're back on Windows 7 with the 128 gig drive, and we're recloning. I'm going to stick it with Windows 7 on this, because the more I dig into it, the more I realize that Windows 8.1 is not designed for a multi-user system. If it were just me and a guest account, whatever, but it's not. In fact, I rarely use this. So we'll redo this clone, and then I'll update all the software, and then I'll put it back where it needs to go and make sure that it's still going to work. Also run a backup in the process. Okay, so there's our second clone completed. I'm going to shut this down. And that should really be it for this video. Once I know it works. Okay, the one last thing to show is the Windows Experience score, which as you can see is actually pretty terrible. In fact, this is probably the worst computer I've got. It uses the NVIDIA Ion chipset, which I guess is terrible. So that's it for this video on the Jetway MiniTop, that's what they call it. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below.